And you have to understand, the other side is downright crooked. That's why we now call him Crooked Joe Biden, because, you know, we took the name away from Hillary. She suffered enough with that name. So I retired the name from Hillary because I wanted to bring it over to Biden, because he's probably worse than she ever was, and that's saying something. As the Durham report proved, they spied on my campaign. They forged false evidence to get illegal surveillance warrants. The FBI offered $1 million for a fictitious dossier written by a foreign spy to try and frame me for treason. We beat it all off, didn't we? They put our country through hell, and they knew it was a lie the entire time. They knew it was a lie. They knew the laptop from hell was a lie. They knew everything. Remember, it's not me they're going to go after. And if you think of it, whoever took my place, and I hope it's not going to be anybody, because we're the ones that are going to save this country, because our country's in trouble. They'll go after that person, and that person will not be able to withstand the fire. And I know all of them. I know them all. And they actually admit it. They come to me, how do you stand this? And I usually look at them and say, in a sick way, I sort of enjoy it. Because it exposes them. It exposes them for what they are. And it's also lifted the poll numbers to even higher legs. Have you seen this? The polls are through the roof, and the fundraising, small dollar fundraising, is setting records. But still, you get indicted over nothing? You get indicted over the Presidential Records Act, which they don't even admit. They call it the Espionage Act. These are sick people. We had Russia, Russia, Russia. Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. The no collusion Mueller witch hunt. Impeachment hoax number 1. Remember the perfect phone call? Impeachment hoax number 2. The illegal censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop from hell. The 51 intelligence officials who falsely said it was Russian disinformation. Remember they said that? I said, nobody believes that. Who would believe that? You see the pictures, horrible pictures. The real pictures haven't been exposed yet. But all of this, and it just kept coming and coming and coming, and it would for another person in my position, but they wouldn't be able to handle it. They wouldn't be able to take it, because you're dealing with crazy lunatics. Now the Marxist left is once again using the same corrupt DOJ and the same corrupt FBI and attorneys general and local district attorneys to interfere in our election at a level that our country has never witnessed before. These criminals cannot be rewarded. They must be defeated. We have to defeat them soundly. In the end, they're not coming after me. They're coming after you, and I'm just standing in their way. The baseless indictment of me by the Biden administration's weaponized Department of Injustice will go down as among the most horrific abuses of power in the history of our country. I think it already is, when you think about it. And certainly going back to Obama, when I said, you know, they spied on my campaign, everybody, including the fake news media back there, they said, oh, that's so crazy. Turned out I was right. This vicious persecution is a travesty of justice. You're watching Joe Biden try to jail his leading political opponent. Think of it. This is like third world country stuff. Trying to put his opponent, who's leading him by a lot, wants to put him in jail over following a civil act. This is a simple thing. The Presidential Records Act, it's all under the Presidential Records Act, as it should be. It's all under the Clinton Sox case. You know what this Clinton Sox case is? That's where they sued Clinton, and he ended up winning, that he could keep the things that we're talking about. It's all under that, Mr. Congressman. We discussed that before. But this is more like Stalinist Russia or Communist China that we're dealing with. These people have reached a level of Trump derangement syndrome that nobody thought was possible. And I never thought, frankly, that this could happen in America. You go after a president that got, again, the most votes by far of any sitting president in history, gets out of office. And because I'm running, if I wasn't running, wouldn't even be talking about it. If I weren't leading, we wouldn't be talking about it. But we're leading by a lot. We are leading to sanctimonious by massive numbers. He's heading south quickly. No personality. You got to have a personality to win. He's got no personality. And, you know, remember that when he came to me, he had virtually no votes. He was dying, as the expression goes. He was dead. I said, George Washington could endorse you. It wouldn't matter. No, sir, if you endorse me, I'm telling you I'm going to win. I said, let's give it a shot. I endorsed him. He went up like a rocket ship, and shortly thereafter they had the primary, and he won. And then we had to get him through a crackhead. But nobody knew he was a crackhead at the time. At the time, he was the hottest politician in the Democrat Party, male version. Female version, Stacey Abrams. It's true. Stacey Abrams and him. But he was hard to beat, and Ron said to me, I don't think I can beat him. I said, you'll beat him, you'll beat him. And I did 3 rallies. Massive, massive, massive rallies, thousands and thousands of people. And I said, you're going to win. And he ended up winning. And then they started cheating at the end. You remember all the votes were disappearing over days, 10,000 here. Rick Scott, same thing. And I called in, you wouldn't believe it, the FBI. Would you believe it? And it stopped. So at least they did something right. But I got him in. And then they said to him, I said, congratulations, Ron. I didn't know him that well. He was one of the many people that supported me during the impeachment hoaxes. So I'd see him on television a little bit, but I didn't know him well. Then I heard 3 years later, they said, would you run against the president? And he said, I have no comment. That means he's going to run. I said, I got this guy in, Mr. Congressman. And he said he's going to run. And then I haven't been very nice to him since then. But we're leading in Florida by 28 points, and people are not happy with him. And he's a lousy campaigner. Remember that when he came to see me, he had almost no points. He was ready to look for a new career. You told me that better than anybody. He was looking for a job. And when I endorsed him, it was like magic. It was like he was a rocket ship. But I believe in loyalty. And, you know, that's just very disloyal. If somebody got me into office, and I got him in, you know, some people I help. Some people I help, and some people I get. And I got this guy in, along with some others. But some people I help, and that's different. Some people I help a little bit. Some people I help a lot. But some people I get in. I got this guy in. So, you know, you think there'd be a little bit of a loyalty. And it's bad for the Republican Party, frankly. But let's see what happens. But we're leading by a lot. But meanwhile, Joe Biden had troves and troves, thousands of boxes, classified documents from his time as vice president and even as a senator. And boy, when you're a senator and you take classified documents, that's a big deal. I watched Dick Durbin get so angry about it. I said, well, he'll be brought back into the fold eventually. But he went out, and Senator Durbin, he said, you can't, as a senator, take classified documents out of a SCIF. He took them out of a SCIF as a senator. It's unheard of. I spoke to a lot of senators. They said, I don't believe it. A lot of them. Got a lot of them. They didn't believe it. And they come after me. And we had a wonderful operation, everything by the Presidential Records Act. We were talking to NARA. But, you know, NARA's radical left. Do you know they have a red flag on the Constitution of the United States and on the Bill of Rights? You know what red flag is? It is a dangerous document. This is where NARA's coming from. And they've done, I would say over the last number of years, very poor job. But they're very, very radical left. So you have to be careful of these people. But they conspire with the FBI. They conspire with it's just a crazy situation, I mean, that this country goes through. If we could devote the same brilliance to making America great again, to fighting Russia, to fighting China, to fighting all these people that are eating our lunch like China. We did a great job with China. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs from China. Think of it. No other president took in any money, not $2. But many of Biden's documents were in Chinatown, D.C. You know that? You know what Chinatown, D.C. is? That's the real deal. That's the place. And he's getting money based on reports currently. And if the media, the fake news, was doing their job, they'd be earning Pulitzer Prizes, which no longer mean anything. You know, I'm suing the Pulitzer Foundation. You know that, because they gave Pulitzer Prizes to reporters from the New York Times and the Washington Post because of their wonderful and accurate reporting on Russia, but they were wrong. In fact, the Durham report just said how wrong they were, but they were. But we knew that even before the Durham report. Many of them have already conceded the fact that they were wrong, and they have Pulitzer Prizes. We want those prizes taken back, and we want them maybe reissued to other people like Greg Jarrett, like John Solomon, like all these people that actually did call it right. They were real reporters. They really did a great job. But they have to take those back. And so we're suing them. And we're suing them for damages because they're libeling me by saying that these people continue to have the Pulitzer Prize. That means they're saying that the story of Russia, which even the papers themselves have now admitted is a hoax, that's libeling me because they're saying that it continues to exist. So let's see what happens with that. But we have to bring back our country. We have to bring back sanity into our country. You know, the media is so important. They could straighten things out so badly, so quickly. Look, if 15 years ago, they're like a policing agent, they should be. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, if somebody said that somebody was taking money from China and from Ukraine and from all these other places, tens of millions of dollars, they would all be rushing to try and get the story. Woodward and Bernstein, I'm not a fan of either one, actually. I got to know them, major sleazebags, but, you know, Woodward looks like such a wonderful guy. He's absolutely the worst. What sleazebags? Oh, poor Richard Nixon, he had to put up with them, but I got my own problems with these people. But Woodward's a sleaze. Bernstein, I don't know, but he looks pretty bad to me. I don't know Bernstein. I heard he was the poorer of the two. He seemed to be that. He's a nasty person, though. For a person that doesn't know me, I don't think I ever met him. But if I did, it was quick. But he's a nasty guy. But they're all nasty because they're deranged. But we have to have our great media be policing agents so that things like this can't happen. Because, you know, there is no scandal without press. If the press refuses to write that Joe Biden got $5 million, and a lot of other things are coming out this week, then there can't really be a scandal when you think of it, right? There can't be. Jamie Comer and Jim Jordan have been incredible in their committees. But, you know, it's amazing that they sometimes say to me, not the two individuals, but people in the committees and people in Congress. We were talking about it just a little while ago with a few congressmen. We have stuff that's so earth-shaking. And you put out the announcement and you think it's going to be headlines in the New York Times and the Washington Post and every paper and every ABC, which is real fake. I call it ABC fake news, NBC fake news, CBS fake news. But you put it, or I put fake in front of every one of them.